Okay, so we're just wrapping up the rest. We've actually made a couple, and we've put those in the freezer. And then I'm just putting together these last couple of sandwiches here, and we're gonna try them out and see how they taste. Look at that, baby. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? All right. So you want to come try some, Rich?
Absolutely, that's what I'm here for.
All righty.
Like I tell everybody, this is the best part of this job.
Yes, you get to taste it after watching it being made.
So how hot is this going to be?
It's kind of a medium.
This is wonderful.
All righty.
It's a medium-low heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
For me,
as far as the chili goes, yes.
For me, it's just perfect.
And then also, again, so the idea is to keep layering those flavors. And
So this is the green chili wild boar sausage breakfast sandwich.
there you go.
I'm Rich from the Wild Things Show, cooking wild game. Now, what we call it? What's the name of it?
Green chili breakfast sausage with wild boar sausage.
Oh,
Yes.
so we're doing a green chili.
Green chili breakfast sandwich with wild boar sausage.
There we go.
There we go. Say that 5 times fast. Yeah.
So a green chili breakfast sandwich with wild boar.
Yes.
And now this is going to be one of your spices. This green chili is a spice that they can get from your website.
Yes, and we have using some fresh roasted green chili. We're also going to use some of my go-go green chili spice blend, and so that's going to add another dimension of flavor. So
this is going to be good. So I'm going to let Lawrence go to it and make us some breakfast sandwich. Now we can put these in the freezer when we get done. We can make a bunch for camp.
Oh yeah, this is great. You can use it for if you're going camping or hunting. You can take them and freeze them ahead of time and then bring them and just wrap them in foil, stick them in the campfire, just kind of warm them up. So this is going to be a really great recipe because it's really easy to make. You can make a whole bunch of them at one time.
Good.
Like you said, you can reheat them real easily. So we're going to show you this really great, tasty, healthy, nutritious, all-natural meal made with this beautiful wild boar sausage.
All right, great. All right, I'll let you go to it.
Okay, hey everybody, I'm Lawrence with Mountain Man Gourmet, and I am going to show you a really cool recipe today. This recipe is so simple, you're going to say, why haven't I done this before? Okay, now the hardest part about this recipe, thankfully, has already been done because we've got some wild boar sausage, which is really, really tasty. All right, so what I'm going to do here is go ahead and turn my pan on, and I'm going to turn on to about a medium heat right now. I don't want it too hot, but I do want it hot enough to cook the sausage, of course. Normally, I wouldn't have to put any oil in the pan if I'm cooking sausage, but since this is so lean, I'm just going to use just a little tad here of some olive oil, and then that will just help it to fry better, give a little more crispness. Okay, so our other ingredients, we're just going to heat this up for a few minutes, and we're going to crack some eggs, all right, and then we've got some beautiful roasted green chili here. Now this is chili spelled C-H-I-L-E, something that is grown mostly in New Mexico and some in southern Colorado. These are hatch green chilies, which are the best of the best of the best. If you're ever in an area such as New Mexico or southern Colorado, if you can ever get your hands on some good roasted green chilies, go ahead and do that. And then the final thing in our recipe here is some nice fresh ciabatta bread. So this is a little bit crispy on the outside but soft in the inside. Perfect for our breakfast sandwiches. And if you don't have green chilies in your area of the country, you can actually mail order, and they will send you at certain times of year when they're fresh, which is usually August, September, around there. You can actually get it sent to you flavor. But if you don't have your roasted green chilies, you can just use the green chili spice blend and still get a really good flavor of green chili there. All right, so let me just check my pan here. It's starting to heat up a bit, and I think I'm going to go ahead and add my sausages. Oh, hear that sizzle. Love that sound of sizzling meat. All right, so I'm just going to set these in here and let them cook up a little bit. And then what I'm going to do while I'm waiting for that, I have two little prep things to do. One is just to crack my eggs. Fresh eggs right here, and I'm going to use the whole eggs. If you're a little conscious of your cholesterol, you might want to cut out a couple of the yolks. That's a good little trick. So I'm going to transfer my eggs back to this bigger bowl, and I'm going to stir them up. Okie dokie, so now we've got all of our eggs cracked, and I'm just going to mix them up kind of slightly. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick. If you use a fork, you can actually stab each of your yolks, okay? If you just stab them first and then just kind of lift up with your fork here, it breaks them up more quickly. Then you can mix your eggs. Now, what I like to do is leave them partially intact. So you notice I'm just kind of stirring gently here. And all the yolks are broken, right? But for this particular recipe, I want a little bit of texture variety, all right? So let's take a look at our sausages, right? So what I'm going to do is turn them over, and these guys are going to be ready in just a couple of minutes here. What I'm going to do is turn the heat down a little bit. All right, so the next thing what we need to do is to peel and deseed our green chilies, because green chilies are actually a vegetable. They're not a pepper per se, but inside each green chili, what you're going to see is all these little seeds right here. So can you see that right there? These seeds, you can eat some of them, but you don't want to eat all of them, okay? It depends on your level of hotness desired, right? And I'm going to get another bowl over here, and I'm going to put my deseeded chilies. Now, you want to be really careful when you're doing this. You don't want to wipe your eyes or touch your face or your eyes while you're doing this process, because it will burn your eyes. All right, so what I did here is I just cut the end off. You can also just pop them off with your fingers like I did with the first one. And then inside the green chilies, you'll see these little long kind of thread looking things. You want to take those out as well, because those are also carrying a lot of the heat. Now again, if you want to, you can just eat all this, eat the whole thing. Seeds and all, no problem. You won't die. But for most people, it's just a little too hot. So we're going to just deseed these real quickly here. Now look, see, I'm tearing these into little strips as I'm putting them into the bowl here. Okay, so our sausage is pretty much cooked here. So I'm just going to kind of set that aside, and I'm going to put another pan over here and let that start heating up, and that's what I'm going to cook my eggs in just a minute here. Here I've got a nice big clump of this green chili, and I'm just going to chop it just kind of roughly. Don't worry about the exact size or anything. You just don't want big giant hunks of green chili because they're a little hard to swallow. Okay, so I've got that done, just roughly chopped as I said, and we're going to throw that back in the bowl over here. Set all this off to the side. I'm gonna just rinse my hands off real quickly. All right, so we have this pan heating up, and let's just turn it up just a tad. We will now add a little bit of olive oil in there. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take out the sausage, and there's a little bit of grease in the bottom of the pan here, and you don't want to eat all of that, but I'm going to just pour just a little bit of that into the pan that I'm going to use to cook my eggs. It's going to give them a little extra flavor, okay? And then I'm just going to dump my eggs right in here. Okay, so that'll calm down just a little bit. Now here's another little trick I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some of my Go-Go green chili spice blend, and I'm going to just sprinkle that right into the eggs here. So as this is cooking, as you can see, it'll start cooking around the edges. It'll start to kind of dry up a little bit. So once that starts happening, you want to just set your spatula right there along the edges and just kind of let the liquid roll down into those cavities. And then the liquid on the top will begin to cook more. Okay, so I've got a nice little cutting board here, and what I'm going to do is I'm not really going to cut anything. I'm just kind of assembling my sandwiches now. So remember, we have this nice ciabatta bread, and I'm just going to lay it out in pieces here. If I were going to eat this right away, then I might want to toast the bread first. You can either toast it in a toaster, or another cool thing is you can toast it in the same pan that you cook the sausage in, and it'll soak up a little bit of that flavor. All right. Check that. Let that cook a little bit more around the edges. There we go. It's coming along really nicely. And that way the egg that's on the bottom isn't getting burnt and dried out. You just want that all to cook. And in a minute here, I'm actually going to flip this whole thing right over, which will be fun. All right, so I'm going to take these breakfast sausages and just set each one on a piece of ciabatta bread. All righty. I'm going to take my green chilies. Here we go. All right, so I'm just going to put a little pile of green chili right on the top of each of these sausages. It looks really pretty, and I can just imagine, I can smell it. I wish you could smell this right now, but it's fresh roasted green chilies, and there's just no flavor like it in the world. Okay, and if you want to do this over a countertop or something, that's always a good idea. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? All right, so that's just going to cook for just another maybe 1 minute on the other side. Again, you don't want to overcook them, because if you overcook eggs, they get all dried out. And so this is our egg that is cooked just plain egg. Notice I didn't put any milk or cream in it. I didn't put any water. It's just eggs themselves. Another thing you can do is, if you want, sprinkle a little bit more on top right before you're going to cut it, and that will give you a little more even intense flavor. So what I'm going to do now is just cut this. Since I'm making 4 breakfast sandwiches, I'm just going to cut this right into 4 pieces, and then I'm going to assemble. Now, one thing I don't want to do is put the egg on first and then try to move it. What I want to do is show you just how easy this is to wrap it. So all you do is take your bread right there, stick it right in the middle, and you've got your bread with your sausage and your green chili on it. And then I'm going to take one of these beautiful, look at that. See, remember how before I said I didn't want to make scrambled eggs, and I didn't want to have just one bland texture and color? If you'll notice here, it's got some of the white you can still see and some of the yellow. And when you're tasting that, it just tastes really yummy. All right, so I'm just going to set that right on top. Look at that beautiful thing. All right, now I'm going to stick a piece of bread right on top, and check that out, baby. look at that. We got some ciabatta bread, we've got our egg mixture, we've got our fresh roasted green chilies, and we've got our wild boar breakfast sausage right there. So I'm just going to set that in the middle of the foil, and then I'm going to do one side over like that, one side over like that, and then I'm going to just fold it under here. It's always good to crimp the corners just a little bit. Fold that under, crimp that corner, and there we go. So now you have a nicely wrapped breakfast sandwich. If you want to stick that in the freezer, I would recommend putting it also in a plastic bag. Let it cool off just a little bit first. All right, so right before you put everything in the freezer, you want to make sure you label your bags, because I can't tell you how many times we've had freezer surprise for dinner. So these will last a few months actually in the freezer, but you don't want to leave them in for a few years. Okay, so go ahead and label them, put a date on them. So if you cook it in a toaster oven or a regular oven, the bread will get a little bit toasted with the foil, and it'll just have a nice crunch to it. So there you go. That's how you make a green chili breakfast sandwich with wild boar sausage, and it's really, really yummy. Actually, I think I'm going to have to eat one of these really soon. Okay. All right, so I am going to assemble the rest of these sandwiches, and then I'm going to invite Rich over, and we're going to do a little taste test. Okay, so we're just wrapping up the rest. We've actually made a couple, and we put those in the freezer, and then I'm just putting together these last couple of sandwiches here, and we're gonna try them out and see how they taste. Look at that, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so you want to come try some, Rich?
Absolutely, that's what I'm here for.
All righty.
Like I tell everybody, this is the best part of this job.
Yes, you get to taste it after watching it being made.
So how hot is this going to be?
It's kind of a medium.
These are wonderful.
Alrighty.
It's a medium-low heat.
Mm-hmm.
For me,
as far as the chili goes, yes.
For me, it's just perfect.
And then also, again, so the idea is to keep layering those flavors. And
so this is the green chili wild boar sausage breakfast sandwich.
There you go.
Now this is Lawrence from the Mountain Man Gourmet. And this is a really wonderful tasting breakfast sandwich that you can wrap up. You see, we got a couple wrapped here for the freezer. They're not going to last long. It actually tastes really good. I'm really impressed.
I think somebody's going to have them for breakfast tomorrow. Forget the freezer. Just stick them in the fridge and have them tomorrow.
Just stick them in the fridge,
There you go.
Here's the chef's allow.
Okay, here we go.
Chef's allow.
Here we go. All right.
This is good.
Yes, and that sausage is really excellent. Very lean. The wild boar sausage, very lean, and you know there's no artificial junk in there. All right, so we pretty much decimated these sandwiches now.
But I'm Rich from the Wild Things Show, Cooking Wild Game, and this is...
I'm Lawrence from Mountain Man Gourmet. And go see us on mountainmangourmet.com. Check out our spice blends, dip mixes, soup mixes, dry rubs, all that stuff.
Yeah, and you can get the ingredient list on my website. Everybody has their own flavor.
That's right. And green chili flavor is in New Mexico, southern Colorado. This is the area of the mountains where we live, and we wanted to share this beautiful delicacy with you here today. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we want you to go home and cook it yourself.
The Southwest touch.
There you go. All right.
Enjoy. Become a wild game cooking master by watching our professional chefs show us how to prepare outstanding wild game meals, desserts, and side dishes.